It's the 5th of November, the year is 2018, and the time is approximately 9 p.m. A Monday that Kenyans have woken up to little to no public transport, and those that found their way to work had to pay exorbitant prices. Why? Public transport services have been withdrawn from the roads because of the return of the Mishuki laws. Same set of laws, but being enforced by a different gentleman. Fred Matiang'i, talk to us. The hashtag is business news. What do you make out of the return of the Mishuki laws? A very good evening to you, and thank you for tuning into Brand Plus TV. It's always a delight knowing that you've taken your time and are keeping us company. I am Ondiro Ganga, ready to bring you up to speed with all the top stories making headlines. And as you know, we're all about business. Here's a glance of some of those stories.
Looking at the macroeconomic and operating environment.
Equity Group Holdings PLC Q3 results. Numbers talk. How did the banking giant perform?
Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda.
We're here to address how to expand and enhance access to justice.
First East African Regional Conference on Access to Justice. Lady Justice beckons.
Justice systems in dispensing justice for all.
Agent Choice Awards 2018. Who is the best insurer of them all? Thank you for staying with us. Now on to our top story. Today, Equity Group Holdings PLC held an investor briefing at Equity Center as they released their Q3 financial results. Our reporter Karari John attended the briefing and breaks down the performance for us. Take a look.
75% of our balance sheet, about 82%.
The group reported an 8% growth in profit after tax in the third quarter, which translated to Kenya shillings 15.8 billion, up from 14.6 billion in 2017. The group has now a liquidity ratio of 55%, with non-funded income contributing to 40% and subsidiaries contributing to 18% of earnings. EasyPay grew by 208% to 168 million transaction from 55 million year over year, and a volume of Kenya shillings 89 billion from Kenya shillings 52 billion year over year. EasyBiz, which is a cash management solution for SMEs, has a rapid adoption in the market that resulted in a growth of 148% year over year, with transaction value of Kenya shillings 187.3 billion from 90.9 billion year over year. Despite a decline in transaction volume to 185.4 million from 197.1 million year over year. Equitel transaction value grew by 20% to Kenya shillings 425.1 billion from Kenya shillings 353.6 billion.
It's growing about 12 times.
Equity Group Managing Director and CEO, Dr. James Mwangi, while addressing the investors, started by pointing out how East and Central Africa, and specifically Kenya, is a lucrative market.
When you look in terms of the African continent, then we can confidently declare the East and Central Africa as the fastest growing region in Africa, and maybe one of the fastest growing regions in the world, and with outlook of sustained above 6% growth rate, almost comparing with East Asia. The World Bank increased confidence in attractiveness, particularly of Kenya, the ease of doing business, ranking, where Kenya, just 1 year, has improved from position 80 to position 61 of the interest capping is behind us.
On the interest rate capping introduced by the Central Bank of Kenya, the MD had this to say.
And the interest capping continues to frustrate the private sector. And we still see that despite all these efforts, private sector growth rate, credit growth rate is still at 4%, which can sustain a 6% GDP growth rate. There is no way you can grow economy at 6% and you are funding it at a growth rate of 4%. That mismatch that then suggests that that is a huge challenge that we still have to deal with.
As technology changes the world, the banking sector has not been spared either. And according to Dr. James Mwangi, mobile banking service is not only beneficial to the customers, but also hugely to the banking sector.
400 cashiers are running 13 million transactions. Just tell me how many cashiers I would have needed to serve 353 million. That is the cost reduction that the bank is enjoying. The mobile, initially, we entered as a service and a cost reduction driver. The biggest driver of transactions and volume was Equitel. And then it's closely followed by agency.
Former Nairobi Deputy Governor Polycarp Igathe was officially unveiled as the Equity Bank Kenya Managing Director by the CEO.
The Managing Director of Equity Bank Kenya.
While the banking sector continues to show resilience in an economy facing numerous challenges, technology remains to be the secret weapon open to all. Equity Group Holdings PLC has clearly understood this, and the results speak for themselves. Reporting for Brown Plus TV, I am Karari John Wambugu.
But again, working in an environment.
The Kenya Chambers of Mines today held a press briefing at the Radisson Blu Hotel, Nairobi. The presser was set to set base for the Kenya Mining Forum to be held at the Safari Park Hotel, Nairobi from the 12th to the 13th of November. Ahead of the Kenya Mining Forum next week, relevant stakeholders in the mining sector gathered today to have in-depth conversations about the mining sector, top of that list being security and safety of miners. Principal Secretary Mining John Omwenge said the government is keen on introducing technology as an alternative and phasing out of the use of mercury.
We, together with government team, that is national government, county government, the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, the Kenya Forestry Research Institute, the cooperative for artisanal and small-scale miners in Migori, MICA, and other parties, indeed, even some of the team who are here today were in that meeting in Migori, where we tested technologies, alternative technologies that are now being put in place and which the government supports 100% the development of, to replace the use of mercury. For example, we tested a shaker table that is now being improved even further at the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology to be able to support us get the gold from the ores rather than using mercury. And this is technology that is going to be rolled out to the local communities.
Further to this, PS Omwenge went on to note that search and rescue teams are being formed and operationalized in case of a mine collapse.
So far, and what have we done? In that meeting, which we did in Migori, the stakeholders did a good job. They came up with a structure which we are now following and we are implementing as national government, together with the county governments and the mining communities on the ground, through the formation of rapid response teams for each of the mining areas. We already have rapid response teams, for example, in Masongo area in Kisii, where there was a collapse in one of the quarries, artisanal quarries, which killed some 2 people. We've been there. Our team has been there many times. We have worked with the community, the artisanal mining community, and they already have that team. In Tabaka, they already have that team. In Migori, they have. In Kakamega, they have. So, and these are being rolled out throughout our country as we take deeper and deeper formalization of artisanal mining.
To this end, the PS pointed out that the government intends to formalize artisan mining and carry out civic awareness campaigns.
People are cheated, so to say, because they do not know the market. When they know the market, they don't get cheated. So, through formalization of artisanal mining, we are helping our artisanal miners to be closer to the market, to be able to themselves know. 2, through formalization of artisanal mining activities which we are involved in, we are enabling the formation of teams of 10, 15, through which we are linking our artisanal miners with our funding teams, our funding opportunities in the country. The Youth Enterprise Fund, the Women Enterprise Fund, Uwezo Fund. So we are helping them to access funds so they can produce more. They can therefore command more respect and better pricing.
To this, the PS noted that value addition companies are being set up across the country.
We have indeed, therefore, a directorate within the State Department for Mining that is for value addition. And as you all by now, I think, know, through the efforts made coming through that directorate, ETC, the government has helped develop the Voi Gemstone and Value Addition Center, which is for taking minerals, gemstones, and having them polished, cut, and shaped with a view to adding value and therefore commanding a better price for us as a country. Most recently, the State Department for Mining, through the ministry, has advertised expressions of interest for feasibility studies for development of the Kakamega Gold Refinery. Kakamega Gold Refinery. The purpose of that refinery is to cause value addition on the gold that is coming out of our country in Kakamega and all the other areas that will be able to access that service, and therefore again stressing the importance of value addition as far as the government is concerned.
On his part, Patrick Kanyoro, Vice Chairman, Kenya Chamber of Mines, highlighted some of the key issues to be addressed during the Kenya Mining Forum.
We are happy that we are getting the necessary support from government through the State Department of Mining, because we need, and I'm sure this conversation will be going on next week on Monday and Tuesday, to address issues such as licensing, consent, royalties, issue of export permits, and general support from the regulator to the industry.
As the country seeks to diversify its revenue basket, it is paramount that such forums are held for stakeholders to make informed decisions that will ultimately impact the economy positively.
This is a very sensitive sector.
Now let's shift gears to the corridors of justice. The National Legal Aid Service today kicked off the first East African Regional Conference on access to justice, with a focus on building platforms for the engagement of regional legal aid networks and the formal justice system. Our reporter Daisy Wambua was at the summit and brings us the following reports.
Coming together here, we wish to achieve the following.
Speaking while opening the 4-day event, the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, Paul Kihara Kariuki, noted that the new approach to legal aid supersedes the mere legal representation to include provision of and access to legal information and advice to the vulnerable in society.
The new approach goes beyond mere legal representation to include provision of and access to legal information and advice to the vulnerable in society. It means it meets client legal needs through an integration of community-based information and advisory services, with a central focus being self-representation and dispute resolution.
The AG continued to state that lack of access to justice is a matter that does disrupt order and stability of the society, and if not addressed, would affect the running of the country.
Lack of access to justice, ladies and gentlemen, is not just an issue of fairness or lack thereof, but a matter that affects the order and stability of society. Left unaddressed, this matter will, no doubt, affect all facets of national development as well as peace and security.
The Attorney General shared his delight on having access to justice as one of the Sustainable Development Goals adopted by the United Nations in 2015.
I am particularly delighted that access to justice is now crystallized in Goal 16.3 as Sustainable Development Goals adopted by the United Nations in 2015. This goal implores us to promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels.
In attendance was the Principal Legal Officer of the East Africa Community Secretariat, Florence Odongo, who spoke on the state-funded legal aid that would help those clients who were unable to afford the legal fees charged by lawyers.
State-funded legal aid is a long overdue and welcome idea, as it will consolidate the hitherto existing linkages between the formal, informal, and the legal aid system. It will also accord legal aid to those who cannot afford the fees that are usually charged by us, the lawyers.
Ted Hill, the Senior Legal Officer, Program Development of the International Development Organization, pointed out that the creating of a good legal aid mechanism is a shared responsibility, thus the need for people to join hands and help the region attain it.
I think we can all agree that establishing better legal aid mechanisms is a shared responsibility, as long as people spend months or longer in detention awaiting trial, as long as a small minority of people with money or power can utilize a legal system that closes the door to justice for others, as long as women are unable to access protection when they're threatened, as long as rights are denied to uneducated, oppressed, or disabled people, or as long as people living with HIV or another condition face discrimination at work or finding a place to live.
For any civilized society to thrive, justice must be served. This not only ensures a harmonious existence, but also creates an environment conducive for development to take root. For Brown Plus TV Business News, I'm Daisy Wambua.
You've always recognized the fact that non-state agencies have been...
What comes to mind when you hear the term Forex? Is it just how the currency is performed? Well, there is more to it. Our reporter Karari John attended an online Forex trading conference themed promoting online Forex trading education, aimed at creating awareness on online Forex trading in Kenya, and tells us what more lies with Forex. Take a look.
When we talk about the Forex trading or any education of any field,
there has been negative perception of online Forex trading as it's seen as an illegal gambling. Nevertheless, engaging in Forex trading is legal in Kenya. However, for the longest time, the market was unregulated. But in 2017, the Capital Market Authority introduced a legislation that will regulate the sector and also outline the registration requirements.
Understood more on the market.
Kenyan investors who wish to trade currencies online had previously had to access international brokers, but none was overseen by the local market regulator. Therefore, early this year, the regulatory body of online forex trading, the CMA, granted a license to EGM Securities, making it the only legal and certified online forex broker in Kenya.
I base most of my trading on technical data.
Trading strategy and market analysis expert Meta Capital Eugene Abungana pointed out that automation of forex trading makes it easier and convenient.
The good thing about automation and automated trading, and the reason why many people want to go for automated trading, is probably among one of the reasons also why people shifted from manual cars to automatic cars, because it makes your work easier. But in trading, automation is something that is going to run 24 hours. This means that whether you are sleeping or not, whether you are on your charts or not, you have a system that can take for you trades based on your strategy. You have a system that tracks trades for you. Now, manual trading requires you sometimes to spend a lot of time on the charts.
There are over 80,000 online forex traders in Kenya, and Eugene went ahead to outline that the traders need a perfect automated system so as to attain success.
Now, as a manual trader, well, as an automated trader, if you had put $1 million in your account and the system is not perfect, you're going to lose all of it. As a manual trader, when you're making your strategy and you realize that the strategy is not working, you can easily pause and start making adjustments as soon as possible. I also think the more chart time you spend, the more time you spend on your chart is going to determine how successful you're going to be as a trader. Because I think I've read somewhere that you require close to 10,000 hours of doing something for you to become an expert at it, right? So if you want to start trading today, and after 54 hours you want to automate your trading, and you want to make money and say you're an expert trader, you're lying. It's a big lie you're telling yourself. Huh? But the more time you spend on charts as a trader is going to determine how successful you're going to be.
We are going to go about 6.
With this new venture taking a momentum, what the public requires is information. And Sila Obegi, an automation trading expert, Meta Capital, pointed to the existence of the Nairobi School of Forex, which gives foundation and mentorship on Forex trading.
Basically, the Nairobi School of Forex is a 2-month training program whereby we help people who have interest in learning how to trade the markets. We are able to guide them through and equip them with all the tools and skills they need for them to be able to trade and trade profitably. As Nairobi School of Forex has been around for 2 years now, and so far they have trained more than 300 students.
As the country boasts of high internet penetration while grappling with skyrocketing unemployment rates, forex trading seems like the perfect answer to maximize the utilization of the resource while solving a critical economic dilemma. Reporting for Bramplus TV, I am Kari John Wambugu.
Thank you so much. You received all of us very well.
Well, on that .com inspired note, we head for a short commercial break, but do stay with us as we still have so much more lined up for you on the other side, including some award ceremonies. See you shortly. Thank you for staying with us and welcome back to Business News. Now on to some matters education. The African Leadership Academy held the Beyond Education Summit 2018 in Nairobi to have a conversation about the future of education, leadership and development in Africa through the exploration of the themes enabling success through entrepreneurial education, critical skills development, transformative tertiary education and lifelong networks. Our reporter Daisy Wambo was at the summit and filed the following report.
Are here motivated by boredom.
Speaking at the summit, Hatim El Tayeb, the Dean African Leadership Academy, pointed out that people have lost confidence in the existing education systems.
It's not a secret that the educational systems that we built or inherited on the African continent were designed to solve the wrong set of problems. There's little confidence anymore that the way in which school is designed is preparing young people even for success at school, let alone success in the job market or in the marketplace or in life beyond that point. And so I think for both young people and for parents, we're all looking for an answer about what education ought to be or could be. And I want to tell you what ALA's...
He continued to state that the continent really deserves more from its leaders than what has been served to them.
We are a learning community that is intentional. We wake up and go to school, or we wake up and go to work every day because we share this belief that Africa deserves more from its leaders than it has received, and that we can provide that. Right, so I have
Jonathan Baddick, the Dean of Admissions and Financial Aid, University of Rochester, spoke on how university choices shape the future paths of young leaders.
That kind of leadership and success is being fostered. And then probably more importantly and more at the heart of the mission, students who are bringing the expertise they learn, whether it's, again, in engineering or public health or finance or art or music or anything that they might study, bringing that right back here. Maybe in some cases to Kenya, maybe to some other part of the continent where that leadership and expertise is needed. But there is probably no truer and better and more sound investment to be made in the future of Africa than in acquiring that education and empowering people to lead and direct and inspire others as far as they can possibly go.
With more than 60% of the continent's population estimated to be under the age of 25, the continent is faced with the challenge of securing an economically prosperous future, thus the need to invest in quality education that will enable acquisition of knowledge across multiple sectors and provide opportunities to practice problem solving. For Brown Plus TV Business News, I'm Daisy Wambua.
choose to come to ALA without finishing KCSE.
The 4th Annual Agents' Choice Awards was held at a colorful ceremony at the Pride Inn Hotels, Westlands. This saw insurance companies featured in different categories in which they have promoted excellence in the field of insurance. Take a look.
So again,
organized by Bima Intermediaries Association of Kenya, Agents' Choice Award is one of the few initiatives aimed at recognizing players in the insurance sector in the country. Bima Chairman Washington Degea said that the awards seek to raise the standards of insurance sector in the country, only paying homage to the best and challenging the rest to raise their standards.
What we're trying to do in the insurance industry is to bring sanity and even to make sure that the members of the public know the performance, so to speak, in the industry. And we do these under insurance agents. And remember, why we decided to get upon as insurance agents to do these awards is because we are very, very many in the industry. Insurance agents need a number over 10,000 plus. And those 10,000 agents have 10,000 views about insurance companies. So we come together, and as insurance agents, we compress those views into 13 award categories, and we award various companies. We award the best in the industry. So what statement are we making? We're making a statement to the Kenyan economy and to the world that whoever we award as insurance agents, as insurance companies, are the ones that have done the best, and they're the best people under the various categories they've been awarded on.
Among the winners of the night was UAP Old Mutual. One of the key categories they scooped was Best Product. The judging criteria looked at the use of innovation in providing a solution that is both affordable and increases insurance penetration.
We've won the Product of the Year. We've won the runners-up under Corporate Social Responsibility, Best Innovative Company runners-up. And we are very proud of those awards. They mean quite a bit to us because first, it shows the confidence the agents have in our company. We work with them very closely, and this shows that they believe in our intermediary value proposition. So it's a good partnership that helps to meet the insurance needs of the masses. Especially for the SME sector, we are really, really proud to have come out tops of the SME, the Product of the Year award.
Another category that was highly contested was Agent of the Year that saw Moses Nderitu of Mosfin Capital Insurance Agency take the award home. Moses said that the award goes to show that the public perception towards insurance agents is slowly changing and agents are professionals that can be trusted.
What it does, it shows that the companies that are sponsoring you have faith in you, that you can actually be a role model to the rest of the agents, and they think that you can also be a role model in the industry. It also shows that agents can also be trusted in procuring business for insurance companies, and that agents are growing. It's a growing trend. Where we are coming from is an area where agents were not trusted, but we are now very professional people. We go to school, we are well learned, and we are people who can be trusted by insurance companies to educate the masses about insurance and procure business on their behalf.
With curtains having fallen at this year's awards, the winners go home charged to do more and retain their titles next year. Those who did not win will hopefully go back to the drawing board, reconfigure their products, services, and customer experience. This is to ensure come next year, they too will have a place at the table of winners. MLOS Africa, a platform that brings together female leaders, executives, professionals, and entrepreneurs to further responsible and ethical leadership in Africa, held a session to discuss the vehicles that women in leadership positions need to have for them to remain relevant in leadership. Our reporter Daisy Wambua attended the forum, and here is the story.
Our theme for MLOS. All the
Speaking during the dinner, the President MLOS Africa, Betty Wababu, highlighted some of the challenges women in leadership positions face.
One is because even just being a woman first is a challenge, especially in the African context, in the sense that there is what the society believes where a woman should be. And therefore, any woman who attempts to be a leader is easily labeled. And so it means that you have to work really hard to prove that you have something to offer to the society. And so that alone is a challenge. The other challenge that I'm thinking about that also emanates from already the existing of being a woman and the narrative that has been told about a woman is that by that it has dampened many women's spirits. And therefore, women never feel as if they're enough or they deserve. They actually even, I see some women even struggle to celebrate their own achievements. And that is a challenge by itself, because I need to learn how to accept myself, to, and just to know that I have got what it takes, because I obviously know that there is no brain for a woman and a brain for a man. And so for that, a woman must rise up and conquer those kind of stereotypes.
She went on to applaud the government for actively empowering women.
But I'm grateful because I think this government is doing a good job. So many opportunities have been placed there.
She continued to state that women need to possess the component of courage as a factor that will see them conquer the stereotypes of a patriarchal society.
The absence of courage, it's fear. And therefore it means that if I'm not courageous, I am not going to face my challenges and my fears, and I will not, get to maximize my potential as a woman leader. And therefore, courage is like a twin sister to confidence. And, it makes, when you believe in yourself, you know your strengths, you know what you can do, your abilities, your power, it gives you the courage. And I tell women, when you have to venture into anything, go to a space where you are comfortable and you're passionate about. Because that way, you create impact because you become authentic. And so courage is a must-have for any leader, not just actually a woman. Even men, they need courage to lead. Why more so of a woman? Because of the other challenges that I have to go with the society.
The mothers start to do everything.
Catherine Waruguru, the women representative Laikipia County, was in attendance, and she noted the significant growth in women leadership at both national and continental levels.
I must say that Africa is rising, and women's leadership and star is rising very fast in Africa. I 100% believe that even Kenya, where we were back 10 years ago, is not where we are today. So it's my sincere hope that as we move forward, we are going to get more women in corporate leadership, in political leadership, church leadership, and even rising as far as business is concerned, because self-employment is also one of the biggest factors in economic production.
She continued to urge women to embrace the challenges they are presented with so as to grow as well as break the patriarchal society expectations and take up their rightful position in leadership.
So I believe that every woman appreciates and knows where we are coming from, the challenges, the cultural barriers, the stereotype, which have affected in a big way majority of us rising. But I must encourage every Kenyan woman to appreciate that it is the nature of the challenges that you meet every day that defines who you are, where you're going. So your yesterday should not tie you, but it should forge forward, appreciating that there is no single time when you will grow in a conducive environment without a single challenge. In fact, most of the time, it's the challenges we meet as women that motivate us.
While acknowledging that women in leadership face a lot of challenges, Samuel Wainaina outlined the need for women to have courage in leadership.
Courage is critical for women in leadership because women face more daunting barriers to their aspirations compared with men. We have societal stereotypes, and being a patriarchal society, it means that for a woman to achieve their dreams of leadership, they have to surmount very serious challenges, and that calls for risk-taking, that calls for courage, because without courage, then you can't go far. So courage is a very important ingredient in women in leadership, because you have to fight very serious battles to get to your dreams.
MLOS Africa provides a platform for women leaders to engage, network and grow each other professionally, economically and socially, and also recognizes men who invest their resources to support the nurturing and empowering of women leaders in rewriting the script for the women's story in Africa and beyond. For Brand Plus TV Business News, I am Daisy Wambua.
What has made myself to be...
Let us now take a look at how the markets performed today. Here is a summary. That is just a summary of how the markets performed, but for more in-depth analysis of the same, tune in tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for my next big bet with Rachel Nderitu and Karanja Daniel. Well, now let's shift gears and take a look at the weather report. That is it from our business news desk tonight. Thank you very much for keeping us company. Tune in tomorrow at 9 p.m. for a fresh serving of newsmaking headlines in the business world. Have a good night and keep it Brand Plus TV. I am Ondiro Ganga and I'm in business. Kiss me.